And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We have talked to this man on several occasions for various reasons, the Hassan trial and other issues. I first came to know him when he ran for Congress several years ago in New York. Didn't make it there, but has been a state senator from the state of New York, and now has decided to once again throw his hat into the ring for the Republican nomination to face off against Congressman Timothy Bishop in the 1st Congressional District in New York State. So joining us is Lee Zeldin, who also happens to be not only is he in his second term, but a major in the U.S. Army Reserves and an Iraq War veteran. Hello, sir.
Thanks for having me back on. How you doing?
Good, good. So tell us about this decision of yours. I know there's a lot of people in the state Senate that are a little worried that the balance might get thrown, but talk about your decision to run for the Congress again.
Well, I announced for Congress a week ago Monday with a 2.5-minute video announcement on our website at zeldinforcongress.com. And we really got off to a great start coming out of the gate. It's interesting. A few people have asked me, "What are you thinking? Who wants to go down to Washington these days?" And I watch what's going on down there, and that actually motivates me even more because it highlights just how much of a need there is to have representatives down there, whether you are liberal, moderate, or conservative. I believe that we need to have more reasonable, rational people, and it's unfortunate the dysfunction and the fiscal insanity that's going on down there.
All right, so what's your take on what just occurred?
Well, it probably isn't much different than just about everyone else in America. I mean, it highlights just how dysfunctional Congress is. It's the fact that we haven't had a federal budget since 2007 just totally blows my mind. Individuals, families, small businesses, local governments, we all live on a budget. We look at revenues and expenses. We care that they are balanced. And if there was any entity in this entire country that should be passing a budget, it should be the federal government. And as our national debt approaches $17 trillion, there's a really good question out there that maybe someone in Congress or all of them in Congress need to answer is, when's enough enough? If we're okay with expanding the debt limit at $17 trillion, then what are we not okay with? $20 trillion? $25 trillion? Let's pick a number. Set a date in the future and decide what kind of real reforms are we going to make between now and that date, so that we don't keep passing the buck for maybe for after the next election, for future generations to be able to inherit. The place is a mess.
Yeah, no, the place is a mess, all right. Of course, you come into a race at a time when there is. I don't subscribe to the theory that it was 20 Tea Partiers that ran this whole thing. They could not have done that. But you come into the party or to the race for Congress at a time when certainly there are divisions, not only in the Senate, which are obvious between Republicans, but also in the House, which is pretty obvious as well. I think it's a healthy thing, but. Where would you say that a Congressman Zeldin would align more with the Peter Kings or more with the Tim Yule's camps and the so-called Tea Partiers?
Well, first off, I'm proud to be a conservative Republican, and when people try to attach labels beyond that, I come out of the gate, and of course the Democrats. As they call every single Republican running for office anywhere in the country, you are automatically a right-wing Tea Party extremist.
Absolutely.
It's really it's unfortunate. That might be the nicest way of putting things. And the liberal media has really loved playing up this GOP civil war and this division and letting the Democrats off the hook. I mean, I was watching as Republicans, kept negotiating against themselves and wanting to have a dialogue to talk about a host of possible solutions. In my opinion, there was probably thousands of different solutions that the Republicans were willing to accept. The only one that was not acceptable, and I don't blame the Republicans for having a problem with this. The only compromise that wasn't acceptable was Barack Obama and Harry Reid saying, if we want it 100% our way.
Right.
And elections have consequences. If Barack Obama wants it 100% his way in Congress, he should have won more races last November. And the same thing goes for the Republicans. If the Republicans want to have it 100% our way, we need to elect more Republicans in whether it was November 2012 or next year when we have a chance to send a message again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We're talking to New York State Senator Lee Zeldin from Eastern Long Island, and he's running for Congress now against Timothy Bishop. What do you believe has changed this time around from when you ran against him last time several years ago? It might have been, what was it, 08 or 010? And not only in your race against him, what has changed in that matchup, but how has the landscape changed, do you believe?
So the race was in 2008.
Yeah.
And when I first ran, oh gosh, I was getting into an environment where I had no name ID, no donors, no name recognition. We were starting from scratch.
No political experience.
Yeah, not really. I was coming right off active duty in the Army, and we went really just jumped in into the deep end with. There was, as you remember, there was some Bush fatigue, there was Iraq war fatigue, the economy was crashing at the end of September, and Barack Obama, with hope and change, was captivating the masses with these great promises of parting the seas, of the Chesapeake and fixing us for all eternity. And people were drinking the Kool-Aid. Where I was running, it was amazing. I believe that it's important as a voter to be informed on your candidates and the issues, their principles, where they stand, what their vision is, and it's crazy when we elect people to office and there's absolutely no vetting of substance. What are you going to do to fix our country, to cut taxes, cut wasteful spending, create jobs? There needs to be more of a debate, and the Democrats don't want to have that debate. All they want to say is, my opponent is a right-wing Tea Party extremist.
Absolutely.
Anything else.
Cory Booker just used that for the whole campaign against Steve Lonegan. No matter what the question, do you live in New Jersey, Mr. Mayor? Because there was accusations he didn't. Well, my Tea Party candidate opponent is bringing this up to change the subject from his Tea Party views. And that's what you're going to face. And you're right about the media. You know that. And as long as you're prepared to face it and fight it, then you have a good chance.
We have to, as a nation, we have to figure out how to get better and more effective with our messaging, so that there is more substance in these campaigns. It used to be where it seemed like the last few days of the campaign was ridiculous. Of political campaigns around the country would be ridiculous, and then it became like the last few weeks or the last month, and now it looks like from the 2012 elections to the 2014 elections, the Democrats want to make the entire process ridiculous, and it's unfortunate. And I would just add that while I'm critical of the Democrats, I think the Republicans have to get a lot better with their messaging. Every year I have a Black History Month celebration in my district. I have a very big minority population in my Senate district, one of the largest in the state. So every year I host a Black History Month event. And after I was done, I come off the stage and an individual comes up to me, and I could tell by the way he was talking to me that he was a liberal Democrat and he knew I was a conservative Republican. And he says to me, "You are the first liberal conservative I've ever met before." and it blew my mind, because I don't think you can be a liberal conservative. But the reason why he used the word liberal was because when I was doing my presentation, he thought that I cared and was compassionate. And the fact this is really on the Republican Party and the branding of Republicans, that I come off stage, I get called a liberal just because he can tell that I actually, give a hoot
Right.
about the issues that matter to him.
Right. No, that's it. The party branding is not because they're strong on social issues and various issues, just the branding, the PR, the media, the way they handle the media, the way they combat the media, the way they handle their candidates, their opponents. It's all got to change, and I'm confident that you'll take a giant step in that direction. It's Zeldin for Congress, Zeldin for Congress.com. Lee Zeldin, who is looking to take on Timothy Bishop in 2014. Get ready for the onslaught. I already heard a commercial. The only Republican member of New York City congressional delegation, Grimm, who used to be my congressman when I lived in Bay Ridge. Anyway, long story short, no. What am I saying? He's a congressman from where I used to live, but I was gone before he got there. Long story short, I consider him a little, he's certainly not a Tea Partier. And yesterday, even before the deal was signed and the votes were taken yesterday, they're running commercials on New York radio against him, saying that he wants to take away your Obamacare and your health care while he has a gold-plated plan. Yet, of course, it's the Republicans who wanted the Congress to fit under the same plan as everybody else, the Democrats who were against it, and they turned it around in the commercial. So be prepared for anything.
Well, that's what happens when they realize that the truth would hurt a lot worse. So
and by the way, it was the DCCC, who I think I added one too many C's, who ran that, and Steve Israel, who you're familiar with out there, is the head of that, and they'll stop at nothing. So be careful.
Well, that's good advice.
Okay. All right, Lee, thank you very much. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Lee Zeldin, ladies and gentlemen, Iraq War veteran and U.S. Army reservist. And, boy, we could use more of him in Congress and a current two-term state senator in New York State. Okay, you want to weigh in on it? Boy, have we addressed everything today. You want to weigh in on any of it? The Republican strategy? You want to weigh in on who do we have at the beginning? Who won here? Ed Klein talking about Obama. You want to talk about Marsha Blackburn? Anything we've talked about or anything else? Chris Christie, his answer to the questions at the debate that I played for you at the top of the hour. 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629 on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.